Rochelle Garza, Democratic candidate for Texas Attorney General. Thank you so much. Congratulations on making the runoff. You're in first place, 43% of the vote. Why do you think you came in first place in this first round?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. 43.1% of the vote is incredible, and I think it speaks to the fact that our message resonated with the people of Texas. They want to see someone who is going to fight for consumer protection, for civil rights, for reproductive rights, voting rights, LGBTQ rights, and ensure that Texans all get a fair chance at getting ahead.
And so, as you will probably learn, as I'm always told by political analysts, is these runoff elections are really, they start from ground zero in the sense that they're different elections, and it's much harder to get people out to the polls this time around. So how will you be doing that? How are you going to be getting out the vote and making sure that your supporters get to the polls so that you can win that?
We're going to continue doing what we did in the last 4 months. We built a broad coalition of support across the state of Texas, from the young Democrats, uh, college Democrats, to Annie's List, to Emily's List, to Latino Victory Fund. We were able to build a huge coalition of folks from Austin to Dallas to Houston to El Paso and to the Rio Grande Valley. And we're going to continue working with this coalition that we've built, expanding on that and making sure that people hear my message, hear what we're trying to accomplish in the state of Texas, and make sure that people go out to vote, because this is an absolutely critical race. We have an incredible opportunity to unseat Ken Paxton, who is going to run off himself, but looks like he'll go ahead and make it through. And we can take the seat back. He's very vulnerable. He, besides his, an FBI investigation and his securities fraud litigation that he's got to go through, criminal case that he's got to go through, we can take him down.
And let me ask you, as far as, because right now, the Texas Democratic Party has until March 13th to certify this election. So you're not really sure yet who your opponent is going to be in the runoff. Yes, Joe Jaworski leads Lee Merritt right now. Does it matter to you who your opponent is in the runoff?
I mean, 43.1% of the vote is a resounding statement from the people of Texas. We're really ahead by 230,000 votes from the nearest competitor. We're laser focused on November and ensuring that we go after Ken Paxton and that we unseat him. And that's exactly what I'm focusing on right now.
So your eyes are set on Ken Paxton, even though he still has a runoff to get and you still have a runoff to get?
I mean, exactly. Ken Paxton, I know he's vulnerable, but he's also someone who is well positioned to win his runoff, just looking at those numbers. And, we've got to make sure that we're geared up and ready to fight for this seat against him.
I was reading, and I'm waiting to hear back from Judge Mike Fields, who was one of your challengers in the primary, who reportedly suggested that Lee Merritt and Joe Jaworski get behind you and avoid a runoff. I don't think that's going to work out, at least for them, as far as I don't think they're going to get on board with that. But what did you make of that?
I think that everyone ran their race. I have a lot of respect for Judge Fields. He, he ran a good race, and it's up to them. I'm focusing on my campaign. I'm focusing on my message and making sure that we reach voters, and that we, if it going to runoff is the second opportunity to continue building our coalition and getting our message out there in terms of what we can accomplish come November. So I'm focused on that, and I want to make sure that the people of Texas hear about me, hear about my message, that I'm a fighter, that I've fought for constitutional protections and I've won across for reproductive rights across the country. And that's exactly the energy that I'm going to bring to the Attorney General's office and take to Ken Paxton come November.
And my last question to you is, what happens if George P. Bush wins the runoff? How does that change things for you if, in fact, you are the nominee for the Democrats?
I mean, frankly, it doesn't really change anything. The point is to get a person in this position that can actually bring meaningful change. That the Attorney General's office is an independent executive position. It's one where we can either uplift Texas families or we can tear them down. And what we've seen from the Republican side, from Republican leadership, is that they would rather engage in culture wars. They'd rather attack trans children and their families than actually attack the issues that are going to protect Texans and uplift Texans in their lives. I have a vision for using this office for good, for uplift, for ensuring that we have accountability with what happened with the power grid failure, for making sure that unincorporated cities have access to basic infrastructure, and that's not just along the border, but it's across the state. We have to use these offices to ensure that people's lives are improved, that consumer protections are improved, and that's exactly what I want to do with this office. And I think the people of Texas are ready for that. They're ready for good representation that is going to fight for them.
Rochelle Garza, Democratic candidate for Texas Attorney General. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.